Welcome to Dreamy Tales, a place where gentle, relaxing stories will guide you into a deep sleep. On this channel, we'll be sharing soothing stories to help you unwind and forget the worries of the day. If you enjoy these peaceful moments, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and tap the notification bell so you won't miss any of our bedtime tales. Let's create a space of relaxation together each night. Now, before we dive into tonight's story, let's take a few moments to relax your body and mind. Find a comfortable spot to sit or lie down. Gently close your eyes and take a deep breath. Inhale slowly, feeling the fresh air filling your lungs, and slowly exhale, letting the tension in your body gradually melt away. Repeat this 3 more times. With each breath, feel yourself becoming more relaxed and ready to enter the magical world of stories. Now, loosen your shoulders, gently massage your face, and release any remaining tension. Pay attention to any areas in your body that still feel tight, maybe in your neck, back, or legs, and gently let them relax. Next, we'll do a short guided visualization. Imagine yourself in a beautiful garden under the night sky, with the soft moonlight shining down. You can hear the rustling of leaves in the breeze, the sound of water flowing gently in the distance. Feel the cool breeze brushing against your face. Now that your body and mind are relaxed, let's step into tonight's story. But before we begin, remind yourself that you deserve these moments of relaxation, and let go of all worries as you listen to each word. And now, as you are fully relaxed, let's begin our journey into tonight's tale. Allow my words to guide you into a world of dreams and serenity. Relax and listen slowly. Seraphina had finally arrived at the threshold of Ember Rock, a name that resonated with the very essence of this enchanting locale. It was as if the land itself bore a fiery heart, for whenever the sun's golden rays kissed the rugged slopes of the surrounding mountains, they were instantly transformed into a breathtaking spectacle of shimmering reddish hues. This radiant glow, visible even from a considerable distance, made the towering cliffs appear to be ablaze, as though ignited by an unseen celestial fire. This dramatic display of nature's artistry served as a perfect counterpoint to the rich autumnal palette that painted the mountain slopes. Fallen leaves, in a glorious array of colors, formed a thick, vibrant carpet across the terrain, a testament to the season's transformative touch. Seraphina's drive from the bustling city had been nothing short of a visual symphony, a gradual transition from the concrete jungle to the embrace of natural splendor. The relentless energy of the city streets had slowly receded, giving way to a tranquil 2-lane road that wound its way towards the majestic mountains looming large on the horizon, their peaks piercing the azure sky. The journey had been punctuated by a charming patchwork landscape of fertile farms and bountiful orchards, their fields displaying a mosaic of autumnal colors. The scene was so utterly captivating that Seraphina had felt compelled to pull over to the side of the road on several occasions, eager to capture the breathtaking vistas with her trusty camera, hoping to preserve the fleeting beauty of the season. the moment the imposing mountains of Ember Rock had first appeared in her line of sight, their peaks reaching towards the heavens like ancient sentinels, Seraphina had felt a genuine gasp escape her lips. Even from a distance, on this clear and invigorating fall day, it was impossible not to be filled with awe at the way the mountains were adorned in their autumnal finery. Visiting mountains always seemed to evoke a sense of wonder and humility within her, but this experience felt particularly profound. The steep slopes, which she imagined were a lush emerald green during the warmer months, were now blanketed in a breathtaking tapestry of the deepest, richest amber, vibrant crimson, and warm saffron. This transformation served as a vivid reminder of the cyclical beauty of nature, and filled Seraphina with an eager anticipation for all that the fall festival, nestled just around the bend ahead, had in store for her senses. The sights, the smells, and the tastes of the season. As her car decelerated to comply with the lower speed limit as she approached the town, the tires rumbled gently over a quaint wooden bridge that spanned the meandering river flowing near Ember Rock. The tires, in their brief contact with the wooden planks, sent a flurry of orange and red leaves swirling up into the air, creating a whimsical shower of autumnal confetti that danced in the sunlight. A welcoming sign, adorned with cheerful lettering and colorful illustrations of pumpkins and falling leaves, flashed by on her left as she officially entered the charming town of Ember Rock. Seraphina had rolled down her windows earlier in the drive, eager to invite in the crisp, cool air. It was a welcome comfort, a gentle caress that carried with it the earthy aroma of damp soil and the inviting scent of distant campfires, hinting at the festive gatherings within the town. With the clear blue sky stretching overhead and the soothing panorama of autumn colors enveloping her, there was a pristine quality to the day, a sense of freshness that seemed to awaken all of Seraphina's senses, making her feel truly alive and present in the moment. The light sweater she wore felt like a warm and comforting hug, perfectly suited to the season, and the overall atmosphere couldn't have been more idyllic. Her car continued its leisurely journey along the serpentine road that wound its way through the heart of Ember Rock. Besides the steadfast evergreens that provided a constant backdrop of green, massive oak and maple trees, their branches now adorned in the full glory of autumn dotted the landscape as far as Seraphina could see. This breathtaking display of nature's artistry, a vibrant symphony of reds, oranges, and yellows, felt like a personal welcome to this cozy and special place, a warm embrace from the season itself. Finally, Seraphina spotted a rustic wooden sign up ahead, its hand-painted lettering clearly indicating the direction of the fall festival grounds. The sign directed her to a designated parking lot reserved specifically for festival goers. From there, it indicated, a charming hayride would transport visitors into the heart of the festival itself, adding a touch of nostalgic charm to the experience. Filled with the excitement of finally having arrived, Seraphina turned her car into the designated parking area and found a suitable spot to park. As she exited her vehicle, her eyes were immediately drawn to a delightful sight. An old-fashioned tractor, its paint slightly faded but still exuding a sense of sturdy reliability, with a large trailer hitched to its back. The trailer was overflowing with neatly stacked bales of golden amber hay, their sweet, earthy scent filling the air. An older gentleman, his face etched with the kind lines of time and a warm smile crinkling the corners of his eyes, sat in the driver's seat of the tractor. He noticed Seraphina approaching and beckoned her forward with a friendly wave, his voice carrying a welcoming tone as he greeted her to Ember Rock. He offered a helping hand, his grip surprisingly strong, as she climbed up into the trailer, where a small group of other visitors were already comfortably seated atop the fragrant bales of hay. They all turned to smile at her, offering warm greetings that instantly made Seraphina feel at ease and at home in this festive atmosphere. She selected a spot near the back of the trailer, carefully settling herself onto a bale of hay. She noticed the satisfying crunching sound as the dry stalks yielded slightly beneath her weight. Surprisingly comfortable, she thought, a smile spreading across her face as she adjusted her position, enjoying the rustic charm of this mode of transportation. Old Man Hemlock, as Seraphina later learned his name, sidled into the cab of the tractor and turned the key in the ignition. With a low rumble that vibrated through the air and the trailer, the engine sprang to life. The massive wheels at the back of the tractor began to turn in slow, deliberate circles, and soon the entire vehicle was moving gently down the street. The crisp, chilly breeze rustling through the hay in the trailer, creating a soft, whispering sound. The hayride itself was an experience of breathtaking beauty, taken at a leisurely pace that allowed Seraphina and the other passengers to fully soak in each and every picturesque sight along the way. To their right, a stunning indigo lake stretched out into the distance, its far shore meeting the base of the majestic mountains. The surface of the water was remarkably calm and unmoving, reflecting the clear blue sky above with mirror-like precision. Seraphina could clearly see the subtle contrast between the two shades of blue, along with the shimmering reflection of the sun dancing on the water's surface. It was a truly captivating scene, a moment of serene beauty that seemed to still time itself. As they continued their ride, the lake gradually faded from view, replaced by expansive tracts of farmland that stretched out towards the horizon. These fields, sprinkled with a vibrant mix of orange and russet leaves that had fallen from nearby trees, were filled with all manner of crops, seemingly ripe and ready to be harvested. There were endless golden fields of wheat, their stalks swaying gently in the breeze, and rows upon rows of yellow and green corn stalks, standing tall and waiting for the farmers to come and reap the bounty of their labor. Seraphina even spotted the unofficial mascot of fall, standing proudly in the middle of one of the fields. A cheerful scarecrow, dressed in a slightly tattered white shirt and patched overalls, its straw-stuffed arms outstretched in a welcoming gesture. The landscape eventually transitioned from cultivated fields to rolling pastures, and the peaceful quiet was soon punctuated by the gentle sound of mooing. Before long, Seraphina spotted a small herd of cows grazing contentedly on the lush green grass nearby, their slow, deliberate movements adding to the tranquil atmosphere. And then, just as she was beginning to wonder how much further the festival grounds were, Seraphina saw it ahead, the vibrant heart of the fall festival, nestled snugly at the base of a towering mountain. A whimsical cornstalk maze, its twists and turns creating an intricate and inviting pattern, meandered up the lower slopes of the mountain. Scattered throughout the festival grounds were various colorful booths and tents, clearly housing the main attractions. Seraphina could see vendors busily arranging their wares, artisans proudly displaying their handcrafted creations, and the happy faces of festival-goers enjoying the autumnal ambiance. The tractor turned onto a gravel path, its tires crunching softly on the loose stones, a sound that heralded their imminent arrival. The path led directly to a large open field that appeared to be a blanket of vibrant orange, a seemingly endless expanse of pumpkins interrupted only by a charming lone log cabin standing in the very center. It was a pumpkin patch, unlike any Seraphina had ever seen before, a testament to the season's abundance. Near the cabin, she spotted several glowing jack-o'-lanterns, their carved faces already lit from within, casting an ethereal and welcoming glow on the ground around the little house, beckoning visitors closer. With a gentle lurch, the tractor rolled to a final stop, and Seraphina eagerly climbed down from the back of the trailer onto the soft grass, her heart filled with the joy of arrival. Her first stop, she decided, would undoubtedly be the enchanting pumpkin patch. Walking through the expansive field of vibrant orange, Seraphina paused frequently to admire the sheer variety of pumpkins that lay scattered across the ground. Every imaginable size and shape was represented here, from tiny gourds that could fit in the palm of her hand to massive specimens that looked as though they could barely be lifted. Round and squat, tall and slender, smooth and bumpy, each pumpkin possessed its own unique character. To her right, Seraphina noticed a rustic wooden sign, its lettering slightly faded but still legible, inviting visitors to pick your own pumpkin, and then proceed to the carving station located in front of the charming log cabin. A wide smile spread across her face at the prospect of participating in this quintessential fall activity. She began to gaze a little more intently at the countless pumpkins scattered on the ground before her, each one holding the potential for artistic transformation. People milled about the pumpkin patch, engaged in the same delightful pursuit, their eyes scanning the sea of orange in search of that one special pumpkin, the one with the perfect size, shape, and thickness for their carving aspirations. Seraphina found the act of walking idly through the field, with no specific direction in mind, to be surprisingly calming and meditative. Taking her time, she slowly made her way along a path of her own choosing, her senses alert for the pumpkin that felt just right, a silent connection forming between her and the potential jack-o'-lantern. Finally, her gaze landed upon a pumpkin that seemed to call out to her. It was a medium-sized gourd, perfectly round and possessing a vibrant, deep orange hue. She reached the pumpkin and squatted down, running her hands along its shiny, grooved skin. The texture was bumpy and slightly rough in some places, a testament to its natural growth, and as smooth as silk in others, where the sun had kissed its surface. "This is the one," she thought, a feeling of certainty washing over her. Upon closer inspection, Seraphina confirmed that her chosen pumpkin was indeed fresh, without any noticeable bruises or blemishes. It also boasted a sturdy, well-formed stem and a flat, stable bottom that would undoubtedly prevent it from rolling around while she was carving. Lifting it carefully off the ground, she noticed how the pumpkin fit perfectly in her arms, its weight surprisingly comforting. With her chosen pumpkin cradled securely, Seraphina made her way towards the charming log cabin, the air around it filled with the cheerful chatter of other festival goers and the faint scent of sawdust. She knew that this was where she could acquire the necessary carving tools to bring her jack-o'-lantern vision to life. As she approached the cabin, a friendly woman with kind eyes and a warm smile noticed her carrying the pumpkin and motioned her over to a table set up near the entrance. With a welcoming gesture, the woman handed Seraphina a helpful cheat sheet filled with tips and tricks on how to carve the perfect pumpkin. Then, she laid out all of the essential tools on the table, neatly arranged and ready for use. She pointed towards an open area where other visitors were sitting on the ground or on the steps of the cabin, already engrossed in the process of carving their own unique jack-o'-lanterns. Seraphina thanked the woman for her assistance and gathered up her chosen tools and the informative cheat sheet before heading towards an open square of grass a little further away, where she could settle down and begin her creative endeavor. Finding a comfortable spot on the soft grass, Seraphina spread out her carving utensils and the cheat sheet in front of her. She picked up the sheet and took her time reading through the instructions and helpful advice. It explained the fundamental steps of pumpkin carving, from safely cutting the lid to scooping out the insides, and offered several inspiring example designs, more than enough to get her creative juices flowing. After carefully considering the various options, Seraphina finally chose her design. Inspired by the clear, starlit autumn sky, she opted for a celestial theme, envisioning a half-moon for one eye and a bright star for the other, complemented by a classic triangular nose and a wide, curved smile filled with whimsical, toothy cutouts. It was a design that felt both simple and beautiful, and Seraphina couldn't wait to see how it would look when illuminated from within. Once she was satisfied with her chosen design, Seraphina picked up her pumpkin and gently flipped it over, cradling its surprisingly substantial weight in her lap. Following the advice on the cheat sheet, she began to carefully carve out a circular lid at the bottom of the pumpkin. The knife moved smoothly through the firm flesh, and it only took a few minutes before she had a somewhat rounded lid, which she gingerly pried from its place and set aside on the grass. The cheat sheet had recommended cutting the lid at the bottom, explaining that this method helps to prevent the sides of the pumpkin from caving in later, and also ensures that the finished jack-o'-lantern will sit more stably. That seems like a good choice, Seraphina thought, pleased with her initial progress. Next, she selected the sturdy ice cream scoop from her collection of tools and began the somewhat messy task of slowly and thoroughly removing all of the stringy seeds and pulpy flesh from inside the pumpkin. She soon discovered that this process took considerably longer than carving the lid, but it was also strangely satisfying. The cool metal of the scoop felt pleasant in her hand, and with each scoop, she deposited the gooey contents onto the growing pile of pumpkin innards on the grass beside her. Watching the pile expand, Seraphina felt a sense of accomplishment, knowing that she was preparing the perfect canvas for her artistic creation. When she finally scooped out the last of the pulp, leaving the interior of the pumpkin clean and hollow, Seraphina took a quick look to ensure that the walls were a comfortable and consistent width for carving. She noticed a few areas that needed to be thinned out a bit to make them easier to work with. After a few more careful scrapes with the scoop, the pumpkin was finally ready for its transformation into a glowing jack-o'-lantern. With a sense of anticipation, Seraphina flipped the pumpkin back over and gently set it upright on the grass. She then grabbed the small clipboard that held a blank piece of paper and began to lightly sketch the outline of her celestial design onto the pumpkin's smooth surface, using the paper as a visual guide. Once she was satisfied with her sketch, she carefully picked up the pumpkin again and used small pieces of tape to secure the paper template of her design onto its front. With the template firmly in place, she selected a small fork and used its tines to poke a series of small holes along the lines of her design, effectively transferring the pattern onto the pumpkin's surface. When she had finished tracing the entire design with the fork, Seraphina sat back for a moment to survey her work. The basic outline of her celestial face was now visible on the pumpkin, its simple shapes already hinting at the final glowing result. With a steady hand, she picked up a sharp carving knife and began to carefully trace the poked holes, making clean slices along the pattern. Soon, the larger parts of the design, like the half moon and the triangular nose, were neatly cut out. For the more intricate sections of the toothy smile and the points of the star, Seraphina selected a small handsaw, its fine blade allowing for more precise cuts. With every careful stroke, small pieces of pumpkin flesh fell away, dropping into the hollow interior, and then out through the bottom, opening onto the grass. Before she knew it, Seraphina was finished. A beautifully carved jack-o'-lantern, its celestial face grinning up at her with a whimsical charm, sat before her. A feeling of satisfaction and creative accomplishment washed over her. She smiled back at her creation, feeling quite pleased with herself for having crafted such a lovely addition to the festive display around the log cabin. "Perfect," she murmured to herself, admiring the clean lines of her carving. Cradling her newly created jack-o'-lantern carefully in her arms, Seraphina picked herself up off the ground and headed back towards the table where the friendly woman was still assisting other pumpkin carvers. The woman smiled warmly as Seraphina approached, then led her over to an area where a collection of other finished jack-o'-lanterns were proudly displayed. Seraphina took a moment to show the woman her celestial creation, who exclaimed that it was one of the best she had seen all day, praising the originality of the design. The woman then paused at a large bin filled with candles and picked up a wide, tall one. She lit it with a long match and carefully set it down on the ground between two other glowing jack-o'-lanterns. Seraphina gently placed her own pumpkin over the lit candle and stepped back to admire her handiwork. The flickering light from within instantly brought her jack-o'-lantern to life, casting dancing shadows on the ground around it. She watched the golden flame flickering behind the cutouts of the half-moon and star eyes, just as she had pictured it in her mind. Turning to the woman, Seraphina offered a sincere thank you for her help and the use of the tools. They both exchanged a friendly wave goodbye before Seraphina turned and began to walk up the gentle hill towards where the enticing aromas of the other festival booths beckoned. As Seraphina strolled further into the heart of the fall festival, her senses were immediately captivated by the tantalizing scent of warm cinnamon and sweet fried dough wafting through the air. It was an aroma that spoke of comfort and indulgence, a nostalgic reminder of autumn treats enjoyed at fairs and festivals throughout the years. Without hesitation, she decided to follow the fragrant trail, her stomach already beginning to rumble in anticipation. Before long, a brightly colored funnel cake stand came into her line of sight, its cheerful signage adorned with images of powdered, sugar-dusted delights. Seraphina smiled at the prospect of tasting this quintessential staple of every state fair and seasonal festival in the area. Reaching the stand, she joined the short line of eager customers, watching with fascination as the funnel cakes were expertly made. A friendly-looking man behind the counter skillfully poured a thin batter through a spiral-shaped funnel directly into a large vat of hot oil. The batter sizzled and puffed up almost instantly as it cooked to a golden brown. Once perfectly fried, the man carefully lifted the intricate cake from the oil, piling it high onto a paper plate. The entire creation was then generously dusted with a veritable mountain of fluffy powdered sugar, creating a visually appealing and undeniably tempting treat. The rich and buttery notes of the deep-fried dough hung heavy in the air, mingling with the sweet scent of confectioner's sugar and a hint of vanilla, creating an alluring aroma that had clearly proven irresistible to everyone waiting in line. When her turn finally arrived, Seraphina smiled at the man, who expertly handed over a plate overflowing with a freshly made funnel cake. Carrying her prize carefully, she walked over to a sturdy tree stump situated beneath the shade of a large maple tree, its leaves a vibrant shade of crimson. She sat down on the stump's sturdy surface and savored her first bite. The crispy outside of the funnel cake made a satisfying crunch as her teeth sank into it, giving way to a soft, donut-like interior that seemed to melt in her mouth. A contented sigh escaped her lips as she broke apart the best pieces and ate them one by one, savoring the sweet and buttery flavors. To simply say it was delicious felt like an understatement. It was a taste of pure autumnal bliss. While she finished her sweet treat, Seraphina enjoyed a bit of people-watching, taking in the lively atmosphere of the festival. There were families laughing together, individuals strolling by themselves or in small groups, and children running excitedly from one booth to another, their faces painted with whimsical designs. Some festival goers were enjoying a quiet moment of relaxation, much like herself, while others were engaged in animated conversations with loved ones, their joy infectious. Once she had finished every last delicious bite of her funnel cake, Seraphina disposed of the empty plate in a nearby trash can before heading over to a pottery booth she had spotted just a little further up the hill, its handcrafted wares catching her eye. As she reached the booth, she found the potter, a man with kind eyes and hands that spoke of years of experience, hard at work behind his spinning wheel. With deft and practiced movements, Master Theron, as his sign indicated, was skillfully shaping a lump of wet clay into something beautiful and functional right before Seraphina's eyes. He was in the middle of giving a small crowd of onlookers gathered around his wheel a fascinating impromptu lesson in the ancient art of pottery. "It's not only one of the oldest human crafts," he said in a calm and thoughtful voice without looking up from his work, "but also one of the most widely practiced." He paused for a moment, his hands stilling on the spinning clay. "There is a kind of intimacy in the craft of pottery," he continued, a slight smile playing on his lips. He admitted that he found great purpose in his work, knowing that with his imagination and skill, he was giving life to the formless clay, creating pieces that would hopefully bring joy and utility to others. "Pottery holds the power to bring families together," he added, his hands now gently coaxing the clay into the shape of a delicate bowl, all while adding a decorative touch to the spaces it inhabits. As Seraphina's eyes roamed over the booth and the small open-air studio where Master Theron worked, she saw that his words rang true. There were all kinds of finished pots, mugs, and plates displayed on the tables next to the wheel, each one as lovely as it was practical. She noticed ivory coffee mugs adorned with hand-painted russet-colored leaves, charming candle holders crafted in the form of acorns with tiny lids, and another whimsical coffee mug shaped like a witch's cauldron, painted black and adorned with hand-painted twinkling stars. Stepping closer to the table, angling for a better look, Seraphina realized there was a whole other row of pieces displayed on a lower shelf that she hadn't seen before. Among them was a delightful garden gnome figurine, his pointed white hat pulled down over his eyes, perched jauntily atop a bright orange ceramic pumpkin. Next to the gnome was a colorful stack of equally vibrant ceramic pumpkins, each gourd piled artfully on top of the next, forming a charming column of reds, oranges, and yellows. They were the perfect decorations for the fall season, embodying the spirit of autumn in their cheerful hues and whimsical designs. Every piece of work was exquisitely crafted and vibrantly colored, a testament to Master Theron's skill and passion. Seraphina couldn't resist gently brushing her fingertips across the smooth, glossy surface of one of the pumpkins, marveling at its perfect form. She lingered by the pottery booth for a few more minutes, thoroughly enjoying watching Master Theron at work, his hands moving with a graceful precision that spoke of countless hours spent at the wheel. Seeing him work the clay, a process he referred to as throwing, was almost hypnotic. The rhythmic hum of the spinning wheel creating a soothing drone that seemed to have a calming effect on the small crowd gathered around him. After a while, Seraphina reluctantly pulled herself away from the captivating display of pottery and continued her walk up the steepening hill, following the fragrant and earthy aroma of boiling peanuts that now filled the air, an enticing scent that hinted at another classic fall treat. Beneath her feet, fallen leaves in shades of crimson and gold lay scattered across the path like glowing rubies, their dry surfaces rustling softly as she walked through them. Not for the first time that day, Seraphina found herself appreciating the profound beauty of this season of change and vibrant color. The cool temperature gave a renewed vigor to her steps, and she found herself standing before the boiled peanut vendor's booth in no time. The enticing aroma of the peanuts, simmering in their salty brine, hung heavy in the air, making it only natural that there was a short line of eager customers waiting their turn. Seraphina took her place behind a group of friendly-looking people, their conversations filled with laughter and the shared enjoyment of the festival atmosphere. While she waited, her gaze drifted to the booth next door, and she smiled to see that it housed a talented caricaturist. The artist, a woman with a quick hand and a keen eye, was midway through her drawing of a young girl sitting patiently before her, her face adorned with a wide grin that revealed a missing front tooth. Seraphina marveled at the speed with which the artist's hand flew across the large sheet of paper, stopping only momentarily to exchange one colored marker for another. By the time Seraphina reached the front of the line and received her warm bag of freshly boiled peanuts, the caricaturist was already finished and handing the remarkable piece of art to the delighted young girl. The little girl's face beamed with joy as she took the drawing, eager to show off her exaggerated features. She proudly displayed the paper to her mother, who held it up next to her daughter's face, exclaiming that the artist had captured her perfectly. It was amazing to Seraphina how the caricaturist had expertly conveyed the true essence of the girl's face and personality by playfully magnifying every distinctive feature. Selecting a peanut from the warm paper bag, Seraphina found that the soft shell broke apart easily in her fingers, revealing the squishy, slightly translucent meat inside, also known as the kernel. She popped the kernel into her mouth and smiled at the burst of flavor. The taste was surprisingly beguiling. While she was accustomed to the crunchy, nutty profile of roasted peanuts, these boiled peanuts offered a completely different experience. They were salty, with a subtle, slightly beany taste that reminded her almost of edamame. No wonder they are such an iconic food, she thought, savoring the unique flavor. They are as delicious as they are surprisingly nutritious. Seraphina munched contentedly on the warm, salty peanuts as she walked the rest of the way up the hill. She was heading towards a ring of booths that curved around the top of the hill, leading to the other side of the path. From there, the booths continued all the way down to where the very first booth she had visited was located, creating a complete circuit of festive delights. Reaching the crest of the hill, Seraphina turned around and stopped, her breath catching in her throat at the exceptionally beautiful view that unfolded before her. From this vantage point, she could see the entirety of the Ember Rock Fall Festival grounds, stretching out below like a vibrant tapestry of autumnal colors and cheerful activity. Her gaze swept across the scene, taking in the charming pumpkin patch and the cozy log cabin nestled in the field below, all the way to where the indigo lake sat with its still, undisturbed water, reflecting the clear sky like a mirror. Beyond the lake, the majestic chain of mountains rose up, their slopes ablaze with the fiery hues of fall. It was a truly riveting sight, a panoramic masterpiece painted by nature itself. As she stood there, taking in the breathtaking vista, Seraphina watched a hawk soar high up above, its sharp cry piercing the clear air as it flew in lazy circles, surveying the landscape below. There was so much beauty in every direction that it was almost hard to know where to focus her attention. Her eyes eventually settled on the field where the pumpkin patch and the little log cabin sat far below, looking like miniature versions of their actual size. A warm smile touched her lips as she imagined her own celestial jack-o'-lantern, its carved face flashing its whimsical grin down at the festival goers below. Today has been a grand adventure, Seraphina thought, her heart feeling full and content from each wonderful sight and delightful stop along the way. Her belly was satisfied from the delicious funnel cake and the savory boiled peanuts, and her soul felt nourished by the beauty of the autumnal scenery and the creative satisfaction of carving her own jack-o'-lantern. Fall has never been so amazing as it is here in Ember Rock, she mused, feeling a deep sense of gratitude for this perfect autumn day.